Porini, is it? Porini.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And he's a coach of coaches. He's a dad. He's a beautiful man, and I wanted to catch up with him to help you guys and help equip you guys for what it is that we all go through as people, and hopefully you can pick those nuggets and relate to his story, his way, or his perspective. But from what I've said is we all have a story, and all of our stories have power, have meaning, and people can relate, and people know exactly what we're talking about. And yeah, so let's chop it up, Mr. Josh.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
It's been an honor and a privilege, my friend. I love what you're doing with all your socials and all your content. Keep it up. I'm a big fan.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's start it from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What got you into coaching? How did you grow up?
Yep. So I basically was born in Hamilton, raised in Wanganui, but I've been in Taranaki, New Plymouth since I was about 6.
Yeah.
So from a young fella all the way through to just before university, where I tried and failed at Waikato University. Obviously my own control. And got offered a semi-professional basketball career down here, back here in Taranaki.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do. And then when I was here, I realised that I couldn't pay the bills on that.
Yeah.
So I needed something to supplement the income, and it just so happened a job popped up at City Fitness, and 20 plus years later, pretty much done it all and taught it all, and now I'm doing what I love, which is a little bit of both. The coaching of people that aren't basketball related and the basketball specific stuff, so I get to sort of flip between the two, which the basketball stuff is really good for my cerebral. I like that challenge of finding out what works and what doesn't for youth athletes. And unfortunately my daughters are in Christchurch. Me and their mum split up about 5 years ago now, give or take. And so they're in Christchurch with their mum, so I get to see them on holidays, which is the best that we can do at the moment. So totally understand. But because I can't get to train them, I'm training everybody else's kids. That's what we're doing, so my 9 to 5 is I'm at the Polytech here at WIT, training people how to be trainers, and I've done that for about 20 years through City Fitness. I did that in Perth, for a year, and now I'm back in New Plymouth doing that also.
So obviously talking about you having to train trainers, that's obviously different from I would say your normal clientele, so somebody who doesn't know anything. So what do you think the main difference is between coaching athlete or someone who doesn't know much versus a coach themselves?
100%. I think it's a lot easier to train an athlete or a client because they're paying you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They've decided that this is something they want. They've saved and scrimped and budgeted, and now they've outlaid it. And so the fact that they're trusting you with their goals, with their gains, means that you don't get a lot of questions. They come in, they trust you to get it done, and as long as you're giving them the results that they come for, that just keeps facilitating. Worst case scenario, they might say, feeling got sick or anything, hurt my ankle. But other than that, there's no issues. Whether it's somebody that doesn't know what they don't know, the amount of questions, or sometimes lack of questions, is you could. Like I think the thing with exercise is there's so much that is out there. Like, where do you want to go?
Especially these days.
Mate, like it's almost too much information. And so I know we were talking just before about the some people are specialists in basketball, some people are specialists in bodybuilding, You know, like they are specialists because they sort of like stop learning about all of the things and just stayed in one lane.
Yes.
So they can provide that value a lot easier. It's a lot easier to find their content if you're looking for it. Whereas someone that's training people that, 20 is normally a class size. I know you guys are like 30 students.
Yeah.
That's hard for one tutor to sort of get everybody up to a reasonable level where other human beings will see value. But I see it like this, right? Like if I was a full-time trainer, I could train maybe 20 people.
Okay.
Give or take.
Yeah.
But if I train 20 trainers, now in some way, shape or form, I'm training 20 times 20.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I sort of see that as a cheat code of how I'm sort of influencing more people in a weird, sort of offhanded way.
Do you prefer to train athletes, or do you prefer to train trainers? What do you feel the most comfortable?
My partner would say the one that makes the most money.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? And she's got a point, right? Like at the end of the day, if you don't have the lights on or you can't put food on your table, then you can't gift your gifts anyway.
Absolutely.
So you've got to sort of find that sweet spot. I'm just lucky with the Polytech here that I've got a good gig and they look after me, and it's enough that. But I think even if I got paid less, I would probably still enjoy training the trainers. I feel like it's more of a challenge.
Okay. Yeah.
And you sort of used that since I was a kid. Like, what am I bad at? Go and do that. Go and force yourself into those uncomfortable things.
Yes.
And then you become a stronger version of yourself because you went through the fire. So I see a lot of that in what you're trying to do, and it's like, I mean, even for basketball, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I was maybe the fifth, maybe sixth best basketball player at Spotswood in my high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. What do you mean?
And then I went to Hamilton, and there was school kids. I was 18, 19 then, and there was 16-year-old kids from Church College just whooping my butt.
Wow!
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So that, I think that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me is to go to a place like Hamilton and just be humble.
Yeah.
And then every now and then we drive to Auckland, and man, you got more humble in Auckland. And so I think that's what I needed, because it really like opened my eyes to like, dude, you ain't it. You did well at a Spotswood College practice because you made a couple shots, and now you're like walking around like
I'm the man.
And you get to Hamilton and there's 15-year-old kids busting your butt, and it's like
but isn't that like sort of like a reflection of the world in general? That no matter which level you're at, there's always someone who's greater than you, or there's
yeah. 100%.
And I guess for myself as well, like this is me. I try my best to be around people that are, again, mentors, people who are leaders in industries or have been in the game for quite a while. Because I reckon that those people, from their life experiences, they have so much more to teach you, right? That I feel that I need to be around those people to equip myself for making impact, or being a stronger version of myself, as you have said. Do you have your own mentor yourself?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I'm very lucky. I thought about it exactly the same way. I mean, I probably don't utilize them as much as I should. But I think that's because I'm busy now doing that for other people.
Oh, okay.
But if I needed anything, at the time where I was in those growths, those areas of struggle, I had a couple actually. So I was really lucky. I mean, I've had training from 4 NBA level trainers.
Whoa.
Because when I was a young kid, that's all I cared about. I wanted to be in the NBA somehow.
Yes.
Didn't need to be a player. Didn't need to, I mean, I sort of knew it from an early age, especially when I got to Hamilton and Auckland. That Band-Aid right off. But I think like it was like multiple ways to get into into that.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of my mentors at City Fitness, Doug Haddon, he ended up doing the rehab on Shaquille O'Neal's toe when he went to the Phoenix Suns.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so, as soon as I heard that, I mean, I knew that he was I knew the company that they were bringing over, and the education that they were bringing over was NBA specific. So I was like drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
I was drinking the Kool-Aid, like,
Yes.
screaming it from the top of the, no one could tell me anything.
Yes.
These guys deal with the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah. What, you do what? It's your fault. You shush.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to
I don't
NBA.
want to listen
You know
to
what I mean? Like, that's what I was like sold. So I just stayed around them. Whatever they said, I listened. I just was like, I'm going to sponge all this up. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I actually never asked them about how that process went with Shaq and his toe.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, what a loss to not even to know that he did it.
Yeah.
And I gained so much because I was following him, but I didn't actually ask him about that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So sometimes as kids or as youth or as young men, we don't know what we don't know until it's too late. And so that would be my thing, is to not only find the mentor, but maybe sit down with them and go, hey, I didn't actually know what questions to ask you.
Oh, nice.
If you were me, what would you ask you?
Ooh.
So in hindsight, that's sort of how I would approach it.
Yes.
And I'm actually looking for more mentors at the moment. I'm in that stage. It's been, we're coming into winter now, and I just realised that I haven't done enough of that myself for what I need this year. I've just sort of been living.
Okay.
I haven't been struggling.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well then that tells me that it's time to get
Do
back
you
into
know?
the fire.
Do you know what kind of mentors that you're looking for?
Yeah, I actually am going to try something I've never done before. I'm going to start bodybuilding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to try and start that. Now that's super scary. I think I might fall apart.
Okay.
But I should have the skills to put myself back together.
Yes.
So I don't know if my fiance would be too happy with the food bill.
Yes,
when we start
it is
doing
quite
that,
expensive,
especially now in these times.
Yeah.
But I think I've never done it.
Yeah.
It's never been something that interested me before.
Yeah.
And I feel that there's a lot of people coming through that it's complicated information.
Yes.
And so this is really what my mentor told me. He said he is good at taking complicated information and simplifying it. And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yes.
That's what
So
I want to do.
are you going through this journey so that you can help equip others, or are you going through this journey because you want to?
Both. I think for a while when I was spinning my wheels, it was because I wasn't playing top level sport.
Okay.
So I realised that the thing that was missing was I didn't have any goals. So I think something that's really scary
important.
would be to, all right, I've always been a skinny kid. I've always thought that that's, a way to stay fast and light, and it's right to a point, which we won't get into. But I thought like bodybuilding was sort of the opposite of basketball, where I could now see that some of the reasons why I didn't get the opportunities is because I look so skinny.
Ah, wow. Okay.
So the coach would be like, you look too skinny to be strong.
Yeah.
Which we know is false.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as in New Plymouth, I'm one of the strongest 43-year-olds there are.
Wow.
But who cares?
You don't look 43
Yeah,
too.
appreciate it.
Yeah. You look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I guess that's the Māori side, eh?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What is it? Black don't crack.
Yeah, baby. Black don't crack, baby. You have it.
What are you, like 18?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
No, I'm 28.
Yeah,
I'm 28, but black don't crack, baby. You heard it. Yeah.
I think that that's down to a lot of cardio. We cardioed the last 15 years was all about that. Because if you're fitter than the other team, you're going to have that advantage in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So our coaches obviously knew that and really pushed us because New Plymouth as a team, we've sort of haven't always had the funding or the money to be super effective.
Yeah.
So you sort of relied on the locals that can work part-time, and I was lucky enough to work in a gym, so it made sense. Like I could sort of be almost good enough to impact and almost good enough to challenge the top New Zealand players, if it was my night. And I think that people need to understand that for me, I did pretty average in my career. I think I averaged 2 points. I mean, that wasn't my role, wasn't to score a lot of baskets. It was to sort of get everyone else the ball and try my best to play defense, which I wasn't that good at. But I was able to, be that 10th person on that squad. So at the trials, there might have been better offensive players or better defensive players, but I had enough of a little bit of everything that I kept them out. So I take a little bit of a victory there, but it took me maybe 6 hours a day when I was at uni. Instead of going to class, I was in the gym. And so I read somewhere that Magic Johnson used to train 6 hours a day, and I was like, oh, that's
that's
I want
the
to
key.
be that guy.
Yeah.
So I just committed to that. And a lot of people can't do that because you've got work, you've got study, you've got life.
Yeah, hard.
So it sort of perpetuates the teams that can afford the players to be professionals and just pay them. They can train that amount, you know. So it sort of means that the small teams just stay small and the big teams stay big. Which I'm happy to report is the opposite of what's happening in the last couple of years with the Taranaki team. Yeah,
okay.
They're playing today at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and we're go. Yeah,
come on. Is this the S?
That's the
Hey, okay, me. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So we'll go up there and support them. And they've had a big company called Media 8 come over and invest a lot of money. And now they've got one of the best Australian basketball players ever, Sam McKinnon's their head coach. And so and the locals have all stuck together, and the assistant coaches are all working really hard in the background to get this team to where it was. And I'm not involved at all this year, but man, it's nice to be in as a fan and just see Taranaki
grow,
be a threat. Not just we've got that circle that win. Teams are coming in and having to prepare their hardest because we've got that mix of Australian international players and New Zealand international players, and Mitch McCarron's playing for the Breakers. He just signed 2 years.
Wow.
He plays if I was playing a video game, I'd want to play like Mitch McCarron.
Him. Okay, yeah.
You gotta watch. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So, it's great. Both Pero Cameron, who's one of the best basketball players in all New Zealand time, both of his sons are playing here. So it's cool to see that that continuity that the Airs coaches have passed and the Airs players have passed, and sort of now it's watch out, which is awesome for the sport. It's the fastest growing sport in the world.
Basketball.
So it's really good to see, and I think it's just going to go from strength to strength. Hopefully they build a new stadium. They're thinking about building a new stadium up there. I hope that goes ahead because we need it. If you don't have the court, they can't. They can't turn up.
So, because you touched on a few things. To be fair, I think one of the things is you obviously touched on the fact that people need to spend or put in a lot of effort into honing their skills, and some of that can become difficult in terms of commitment because of availability of finances. What do you think? Because at the end of the day, not everyone has the finances to be able to be all the time. To be able to get into those spaces. But what would you say would be the best possible way if you still wanted to pursue a career like that? Or a path that way? What would you say the options are?
I think the most important thing that I'm learning is that we need to get on the same page with what these things are, as far as you have a coach, and everybody knows what a coach is, right? But I think they're not defined enough. So in my mind, there's a coach. There's two types of trainers. There's trainers that do that sport specifically. And there's trainers that do not that sport, just weights. So everybody in the world knows you need a coach. If you want to compete and play and all of that stuff at the top level, you're going to be playing for a coach, right? Everybody knows that you need to do weights, because if you don't, you're getting left behind. The other day, one of the studies was there's a 69% reduction in your chance of getting any injury if you strength train. So if you don't strength train and you play sport, the chance of you getting injured are while not guaranteed, we've got to be careful with that, way more potential outcome of that to go wrong for you and your kid. So strength training is a must. So I would search out the best strength trainer for your kid or for yourself, right? Or get on the internet and ask the right questions. right? That's a big part of it. So everybody knows that there's a coach and there's a trainer, and those two things, the trainer always supplements the coach and the athlete, so they work for them.
Okay.
So nothing we do here should ever get in the way of what they do there, because the athlete has come to you to help them with this one here, right? Like they're not coming to you going, hey, I would like to play less. You know, they're coming to you, I would like to play more. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what sport you play or what your position is or anything like that. I just need to understand how you move. I need to understand that it's going to be the muscles in your body, and everyone's muscles are the same. Right? I don't care what you've heard. Right? Your arm bend's the same as my arm bend's the same as his. Yeah.
But there's some people who've had injuries as well.
Totally right. So you need a trainer that specializes in the things that you need. Right, but those are the two things. I think oftentimes everybody understands that. I hope. Right, but there's also a role which sometimes the coach does, sometimes the trainer does. But I think we've got to be careful with that. Is a skills specialist, and they might be a basketball skills specialist as an example. Oftentimes coaches will do that role, but I feel that if your player 6, player 7, player 8, player 9, player 10, that coach can't help you, because in their mind, guess what? You're 6, you're 7, you're 8, you're 9, you're 10 already. Right? So if you're one of those and you're happy, cool. Just see your coach and just see your trainer. But if you're not happy, you need that skills trainer, right? And whatever sport, and this could be, it doesn't even have to be sport, right? You could be, I need someone to help me with my finances, my business model's off, the way that I market's not right. So you would go and see a specialist
in that field,
right? And I think, so we need to know that there are 3 silos really of help available, and they're all different, right? And I think the crazy thing about that is, the more that you go into this, the more that you see the skill stuff is actually closer to the gym stuff than it is to the game.
Okay, please unpack that.
Yeah, so for example, if you were in the gym and all your trainer ever gave you was 1 kg weights, would you get stronger?
Yeah.
If all you ever gave for the rest of your life was 1 kg weights?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the principles is progressive overload.
Yes.
Right? You need to be, we call it drowning. You need to be drowning yourself in enough challenge that when you sleep, recover, rest, and do all of those good things, your body will adapt positively.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
It's a stress.
Yeah.
It's like starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you would woke up one morning you were woke up one morning
Oh, yeah.
So you put yourself in that stress, and now it comes easy, right? But only because you didn't do the version of ones. And version of ones would be to stay in bed.
Yeah, hard. Yeah.
You heavy lifted this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We don't do that in skills training, or we don't understand that has to be done in skills training as well, right? So if you want to get better at skills, I need to drown you in something the same way I would do in the gym. So you progressively get better at those skills.
Yes.
Now, that's different to practice. Because in practice, I want you to be confident and comfortable.
Yes. Okay.
I want to prepare you for the game. I want to get your mind right. Okay, so here, remember that the other team that we're about to play on Saturday, they like to do this.
Yes.
So be ready to counter.
Yes.
That's game management.
Yes. Okay.
We
Again,
don't,
2 different mentalities.
Yeah, we don't talk about that in skills.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
And so it could be an example of, so basketball, I might, parents will do this all the time. They'll teach their kids how to do a layup with 1 basketball.
Yeah.
1 basketball is what happens in the real game. So that's practicing getting your kid confident and comfortable. That's in this silo.
Yeah.
Skills would be, I don't know, having another basketball, having 2. And so what that means is that if you've got 2 basketballs and you make your kid do that, are they going to struggle? They are.
Stress.
They're going to be stressed. So it becomes more like the weights than and don't get me wrong, all of these things have value. And some coaches can do all 3. Yeah. But if you want to be, the number 1 guy or the number 1 girl in that team, you can't get that from your coach because they already see you in the position that you're in.
Oh, I love that.
So one of the guys that I'm doing all the skills training with is Michael Lancaster, and their thing is I'm Possible. And you would love them, you should check them out. And so basically what they're saying is that, and they're right, is that coaches don't care about players' dreams.
They care about the objective.
The winning,
Yeah.
because they are assuming all of those players care about that.
Yeah.
So, which was great.
Yeah.
Now it comes across sometimes as like we're picking on coaches, but we're not.
Okay.
We love them, we need them. We want to win too.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the crowd cheering for all of that. On the skill side of things, in the middle silo, it's about that athlete. What do you want? What are your dreams? Well, my dreams are not only to be better than all of these guys on my team, but I want to make. Okay, that coach can't do that because that's not their dream. So you've got to find the person that suits your dreams.
What would you say it takes to be the best version of yourself?
I think, that's a good question. I don't know if I know.
Oh, wow.
I think that's outside. I think without coming across with some cheesy stuff, I feel like I'm not too sure yet. Because I can do all of the, it's this, that, and the other thing, but I don't feel that that's real.
Okay.
Because I don't know yet, because I know I'm not the best version of myself yet.
Okay.
So I think my advantage is that I know there's stuff that I don't know.
I'll ask you this: if you had to tap on a few doors to find out what would your best version of yourself be, where would you start looking?
I think it would come down to the basics and the habits. So, do I get enough sleep? Is my nutrition on point? Am I mindful? Am I practicing that? Am I grateful? Am I practicing that? Am I serving others? Am I practicing that? When someone comes to me for help, am I not giving them the answer, but helping them work it out using their own mechanisms? A lot of my students get frustrated with me because they want just the answers. I'm turning up, I've paid my fees, I want the answers. But again, that's a coded message. That's not really what they want. They want to know how to get the mechanisms in their head to, constructively work out what should go where. So I feel like there's a whole list of things like that I know that I'm not ticking as well as I should. So it's hard to say what I think the answer is. But that's what I would hazard, I know for some things I'm doing really, really well and better than I've done before, like especially relationship-wise. Communication that I've got with my fiance now, some of the stuff that we come up with is just like, I've never had conversations like that before. So we can tell that we're leveling up there. So I because I know what it's like there, I know that there's other areas that it's not as good as that. So I'd say when it all goes like it's going there, and when I feel that it's not always pretty, and I think
that's good.
I think that might be a mechanism is when it's crap and when you're in your emotions and you can't, things aren't going well, the 2 days after when you look back and reflect, I think that's sort of a necessary step to, and it's not like that, it's like down and then up and then down and then up. And I think it's being able to know and be mindful that that's the process you've got to go through. It's got to suck to get better. And being brave enough to
that's a big thing.
That's the hardest thing, right? Like, we like to say it doesn't mean that we're really brave and we're really strong, but I don't think that's a fact because I know that's not right. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all the problems that we see in the world. So, I would say those would be the doors that I would be knocking on is find some areas where I know I'm doing the work. I think it's all work.
Work, what do you mean by that?
Being mindful, knowing that you don't know it, and going out and sitting in that. I don't know if fire is just the right word.
That is, I reckon.
Sitting in that fire, it's like a baptism of fire. You could just get really angry and really mad that you whatever, someone didn't communicate and now you're both hungry and no one communicated as you're mouthing under your breath and you could do that, or you could go, actually, what's this trying to teach me? And I think that would probably be the way that I would knock down doors, would probably be that way, is to go, well, what does the work look like here? And you're doing it right when it sucks. You're doing it right when it's making you feel uncomfortable or tense. I think there's a part of your brain that's designed to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And that one arcs up a lot.
Yeah.
And it's the one keeping you safe, so it's like, don't start a podcast. Don't post that video. You know? But that's the opposite. And maybe that's why it talks negative. So you've got something to go at.
What do you? Oh, okay. Like as in something to achieve or go past, is it? Or what do you?
Maybe we're built with our own, like the reason we're built with our own safety mechanism of that, because the subconscious is probably how most people understand it, right? And I'm not saying I understand any of this. This is how my logical brain would try and explain it, right? Would be that there's a part of my brain that wants to keep me safe. So it means I'm not going to upset my fiance tonight by asking that question. Because it would be too hard and there'd be tears. But the others, maybe that's there so you rage against it. Right? Because if you're living on an island by yourself, that side of your brain will be like, you won't do a workout. Maybe that's there for your other side to go, I can do a workout. You know, Tom Hanks is talking to Wilson. Maybe we have that going on.
Yes.
I think, my mum and my dad had this trouble for ages with, my dad liked to smoke a cigarette. And he'd been an athlete all of his life. He used to play pro basketball. And so, some people can get away with it. But mum would always be like, these dirty cigarettes, and I want him to stop. So she yells at him, right? Stop, stop, I think she took it as a postcard from so couldn't buy it. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, don't do it. But I think that's the wrong way to look at it. Well, I know that's the wrong way to look at it, right? Because he's going to rage against that. Right? Because in his head, he knows not to do that. He's still somehow justifying it. But I think it's the way that we go about it needs to be improved.
Would you say how would you say if there's something that you're seeing somebody go through that they shouldn't be going through that, how would you say would be the best possible way to come across and let them know that, hey, I think you shouldn't do this?
I'm actually excited. I know the answer to this.
Oh, nice.
So, in psychology, there's a tool that a guy, Dr. August Lehman, created called motivational interviewing.
Okay, nice.
And we have to now look at that as personal training because that's really what we're doing.
Yes.
Is we're trying to help you find your internal motivation, right? But we can't tell you to do it. So his whole process is a fascinating story. He used to work in one of the, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, as a prison in New York that he used to work at that all of the very addicted drug criminals would go to. And so his job as the head psychologist there was to create an environment and create a system to get them off the drugs.
Okay.
Now he created this entire system and it didn't work for 2 years and he couldn't figure out why. And the reason it wasn't working is because serious drugs will actually flip a switch to make your brain think that they're good for you. So addicts get stuck because of that. So there's actually a chemical process that changes it. So they believe in both sides of their brain that the drug is good.
Wow.
Whereas normal humans don't. We know that cigarettes, alcohol, all that stuff's bad for us. We just rationalize it. Cool. So that's that. Then so he decided to come across to personal training because people there want help. Whereas the drug addicts didn't. So his system is from that, and we use it now. And the system, in a nutshell, I'm really oversimplifying it, hoping I don't murder it, is you ask a question that facilitates an emotional response, a positive emotional response from that human being.
Example?
Easiest way to, you seen Bart Simpson cartoons when there's like a devil on this shoulder and an angel on this shoulder and the devil's saying, use your slingshot, and the angel's saying, don't do it. So if we imagine that every human being has that, you want to ask a question that only the good angel can answer. Because then it grows. So it could be,
if I put it like this, I would probably say, whatever you feed yourself or whatever you feed into is what grows the most.
Exactly. So I could say something like, or my mum could say something to my dad like, if you did decide to give up cigarettes, how would that affect your relationship with your grandkids? right?
Okay.
What sort of things could you do?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but okay, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then his only answer comes from the good angel.
Yes.
So
yes.
he would say, oh yeah, I could teach them how to play basketball.
Powerful.
And it's like he came up with that.
Powerful.
So
Powerful.
I
so
see. Internally, we've just like it's just like planting a garden, right?
Yeah.
You just get the soil,
yes,
and the water and the sun, and you just let that tree grow.
yes,
And instead of don't do it, because as human beings, we've already had that conversation.
Yes.
So if you've already had a conversation, you know both sides.
Yeah.
And then if you take one of those sides, if she says, don't smoke, it's bad, you're going to die, and your grandkids aren't going to be around, then his brain starts talking from this side.
Yes.
And
negative.
he's like, I've earned this.
Yes.
And with valid reasons.
Yes.
And that's the problem. It's because there's valid reasons for staying the same, there's valid reasons for changing. You just want to make sure that their answers only come from the side. Yeah. And it's a tough thing to stay mindful of, because it's really easy as human beings to try and help. But actually all help, if it's not that, is actually making things worse for all humans. So it's you won't find good personal trainers now that don't know that. You really because psychology is how the brain works, and absolutely. That's what we have to do, right? These people are struggling for a reason.
Yeah.
So we have to sit down with them and help facilitate this environment where they're going to be able to put their best foot forward and continue to do that. And smart questioning is really a good tool there to let them talk themselves into their habits.
Yes.
And they stick.
Yes. Nice.
It's a good idea you've got there to stop smoking.
Yeah. And make you feel like they came up with it. Yeah.
Well, but they did.
They did.
Right.
But you let them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Would that be because we were talking about selling.
Yep.
And so in terms of selling, there's a concept called suggestive.
Yep.
Way of selling. I forgot what exactly.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I guess we're lucky, right? Like I think with selling personal training, I think the thing that we're most lucky about is the product sells itself.
Yes.
Especially if you get with a good trainer and they do one little change, maybe they move your elbow in a certain way, and it just changes your life, right?
Yeah.
You feel that in your muscles.
Yes.
I'm not telling you how good, I'm not doing the, have to imagine that you're on the beach with your bicep. I don't need to do that because you're like, shit, if I'm around this person, everything feels better. And that's value. Because it's true, it's real. You, the client, is feeling that, right? And if I'm not good at my job, you won't feel that. Right? But if I understand anatomy, physiology, and I go back to my books and I'm a student of the game and I'm putting you in the right positions anatomically to get that muscle to go, then you're going to go, wow, every time this trainer does anything, it feels $1 million. I'm not paying them enough. I better be quiet and be happy and do my exercise. So I think that we're really blessed in that regards, as it sells itself. Right. People are searching us.
Absolutely.
I mean, saying that, there's so much out there that we've got to be. We talked a little bit before about that one trainer at City Fitness. And he's
Chris
got that.
Bryan?
The one you.
No, not that.
No, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet. A lot of my students tell me really good things about him and his wife, what they're doing at City Fitness in the bodybuilding world. So that's super exciting.
Awesome.
One day I'll go and introduce myself.
Come on.
Well, I might need to come. Yeah. So there's another trainer there. I can't remember his name, but he did a video and he was like. Put himself out there and said, ladies between the ages of 35 and 55, I can't remember exactly what it was, if you are struggling and you need help, come see me. And I was like, that's really smart, because he just basically helped anybody that's wading through all of this content online that's just rubbish. Hey, that's me. I'm a lady between 35 and 55. I'm in New Plymouth. And the comments were just massive with tagging friends and the engagement, because he said, like, hero, this is what I do. So fantastic.
and I'm here for this clientele,
Yeah.
or I'm here for these people.
Yeah.
Which is raising up his hand, really.
100%.
Like, and
Yeah.
yeah, bro. Okay, so one of the things that I believe is part of my mission, and I believe that for a lot of people that they struggle with purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know your purpose in life?
I think so. I think
Okay.
like I don't know if I'm religious, but I've had enough blessings and miracles in my life to be. I'm probably going to go there at some stage.
Okay.
I feel like it's sort of like the evidence is too overwhelming in the
Nice.
in the way that there is probably somebody, an energy, an essence, whatever you want to call it. I'm not there yet, but I think, you know, especially how my life's going, holy crap, that is more than likely that outcome. I think that yeah, it's a tough one. I think purpose-wise, I feel like is probably along the lines of here I am, this is what I specialize in. If I'm the right person for you, then come to me and I will help you with any and all things that you need to get you where you need to go. Someone likened it to a lighthouse, and I like that. I think lighthouses don't need to move, where they just stay. And if the value that I'm providing, if the light that I'm providing is what you need, then
You
come
know,
to me.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if it's not, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
so that sort of I think feel like that's my purpose. Especially I sort of chased basketball from an early age. You know, we were in the gym in Wanganui from 5 years old, watching Dad play, and so I feel like that's the mission there is I'm trying to help take really complicated stuff that the pros use. You know, some of those guys are on $50 million contracts, and I'll teach you to a 6-year-old.
Wow.
You know, that's, I think, like if I can take that complicated information and simplify it so a 6-year-old can get it, then that's what I feel like. I'm sort of something along those lines. But again, I don't know for a fact yet. So maybe it isn't that. Maybe it's something a little bit different. Maybe it's more of the injury rehab stuff that I've been that's been paying the bills, or maybe it's more teaching. So I'm sort of throwing myself at a lot of things to see what sticks. One of the things that I think serves me well is I like to hold myself accountable, and that I'm always questioning what I know. I'm assuming that it's wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I'm assuming, like, I might say, okay, what do I know about this shooting a basketball? And I'm gonna go, okay, suspend the belief or suspend the reality and pretend that everything that you know is wrong. How do you go and prove yourself right?
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm coming from that.
Wow.
That thing is really there's a lot of struggle in that as well, because we like to feel comfortable. We like to feel like we know something. We like to feel like we have value. And to some parts I agree, but I feel like a lot as coaches and trainers and that we sort of we rest on our laurels a little bit too much, I think, or I hope that coaches and trainers out there, if they want to really be at the top, that they are holding themselves accountable to, I could be wrong here. And if that's the attitude, I think they're in a really, really, really good place. And I think that life will work out for them and their journey will continue in a really positive way. You know, you just hear stories of, like, you know, somebody got a university degree back in the day and that was the last time they picked up a book. And I hope that's not a reality for human beings. Like, I really think that I've got my certificate, so therefore I know it all. I really hope that's not a thing. You know, because there's no way to know, right, until you're in that room with that person listening to them talk. So I guess that's sort of what it is to be at service for those that need. Maybe start another podcast.
Yeah. You should. Yeah, bro, you should. Because obviously you've spoken about, you know what, that's an interest that you've had.
Definitely.
And obviously, usually, I like the fact that you said serving others, you know, and I would like to think that purpose always. This is how I would describe it. Purpose has to do less with yourself and has to do more with the others. And in as much as you are the person that is a vessel to give, but it has less to do with yourself. But don't get me wrong in terms of, because you also touched on humility again, and so in order for you to live a life of purpose, you need to be humble.
100%.
You know, but don't also get me wrong when I'm saying that it doesn't really have much to do with yourself. It does, in a sense that you need to upskill yourself within your purpose, and it's not to say that you need to shy away from that, or that you are ready as can ever be. There's always room for improvement. There's always getting sharper in your purpose, and the more you go into it, the better you become at serving people.
100%.
Yeah.
I think to add to that, like, there's people out there like yourself, and sounds very similar to my journey, that it's really important to find out what your purpose is. I think it's very important also to note that there's people that may have already found it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And also that everybody's different, and that if working on your mum and dad's farm and building that legacy is just as valid as somebody that's going to the NBA to train and help with injuries. I feel like that's super important as well, is that as long as you feel in your heart that it's real and that you're serving a purpose, then it ticks the box. So it just, because you got to be careful that doesn't come across as everybody has to do what we're doing.
Nah, I definitely don't think that everyone has to do what we're doing in terms of purpose, because our purposes won't be the same.
100%.
But in a nutshell, I think that it is bigger than us, and it is outside of us. In as much as, so for example, you would say like my purpose, I believe that my purpose is being a basketball player, or my purpose is being a mother, because there's some people who genuinely feel that way. But again, even with being a mother, it's not for you. If you seeing it from that point of view, that you're saying I'm here to be a mother, so your purpose there and in that time is to give birth to another sense of purpose within that. So it doesn't have to be categorized in a sense that I'm in the specific place. Am I making sense?
It could be a generational journey, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if I think back to like, would our ancestors be proud of the growth that we've had? I think so. In some ways, for sure. Especially mentally. I think, and then probably emotionally as well. We're having these conversations now of what's Or we're just having conversations.
Yeah, literally.
Right? a friend of ours does this thing on a Tuesday night where he invites just his male friends and they sit around a fire and they hand a stick around and that's powerful.
That is powerful,
And they asked me if I wanted to go and I said I would probably have issue with the way that they're doing it, because like as far as like I would like to modify the rules, because what I'm in a different place in my journey. I think it's really important to understand that a lot of the feelings. Well, let me start with this. I don't want to get in the way of anything that has value.
Okay, nice.
So I would opt out of going to something like that in the beginning because I feel like just the fact that men are getting together to talk about their feelings is a massive jump.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because I don't agree with one or two of the rules doesn't mean I should go in there and kick the fire out and start preaching. Yeah. So I want to be really careful with that. Like for them, I love that for them. Like I think that's great. Like 10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. Right? Unless there were 20 beers each and you know what I mean? And So yeah, I've got to be careful how I word this. I want people to understand also that those things are good. That a lot of what men struggle with that I've seen personally, my experience is that they have a feeling, but then they get mad that they had a feeling.
Okay, unpack that.
So let's say you got bad letter in the news and you got mad at it, right? Could you control that you got mad at it? And I would say no. Your feelings are designed to straight away, right?
Yeah.
Same if I put my hand on a hot stove.
Yeah.
I want that to go off quick.
Yeah,
like, I'm still
yes.
sitting there burning.
Yeah.
You know, there's something wrong up here. I think feelings, as far as like the first feeling, I think those are only useful to keep you safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then a lot of like, say, if you read that letter and it made you angry and you started crying and emotion, I think a lot of men get angry at the fact that happened. The tears and I didn't control it and I was crying and I don't cry. So they get angry at themselves for something that they don't control.
Yeah.
So I think like as long as you know that those first feelings are just a design mechanism to keep you safe, the same way you put your hand on the stove, like you can't get mad at your brain for telling you to take your hand off the stove. You say thank you for that part of my body. I'm so grateful that my reflexes are there. Otherwise I would have to go to hospital instead of running it under a cold tap. And so I think it's really important to go event, emotion, and never get mad at that.
Mad at what?
Mad at the fact that you had one.
Okay.
You don't control that. No, the event is the event. So your girlfriend breaks up with you. That was the event. Yeah. And then you get upset and tears roll down your cheeks and then you beat yourself up because men don't cry. But that you don't control that one. And so I think that really needs to be spelled out is that you're allowed to have that first one. What is interesting though is after that emotion has occurred, the amount of time that you stay in that emotion, that's one measure of what I would call mental toughness. So if my coach says, hey, you're not playing this Saturday, you haven't done enough to prove it in training, I'm going to be upset initially. That's the same as touching the hot plate, right? I'm entitled to that. I'm allowed that. It's a natural thing. If I'm still angry at it 2 days later, I'm choosing it.
Nice.
That's different.
Nice.
That's different.
Nice.
And so mental toughness, and athletes do this all the time, right? The ref blows the whistle. I'm upset. How many seconds it takes you to get over it is one indicator, like in time. If you take 0.01 seconds to get on with it and go back and you're back in the game, you're mentally tougher. Right? So we can actually measure how someone's mentally tough and explain it to them on event, feeling, time.
Nice.
You know, and not there's not a lot of things out there that can be done like that. So if someone's passing around the stick and said, hey, my partner beat me up, I feel really sad. Like and for me to come there and go, hey, no, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that wouldn't go down too well. So one day we might have that conversation. I might invite them to my house, sit around my fire and say, hey, I know what you've been doing. I love that for you. Let's try and just go through a few things. And I would teach them that.
So because, you know, pretty much what you're talking about is, well, what I'm getting is the fact that there's people who've gone through something and now they're around a fire or whatever with sticks and they're explaining the event that they've gone through. And through that event that they've gone through, people are going to be like, it's okay, or try and soothe them. And from there, what you're saying is you would do it differently.
I would just ask them to understand this process is that I don't think I would change anything. I would just like them to have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation at the start to explain that there's an event, that there is an emotion.
I see what you mean.
Don't get mad at it because you can't control it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to preface the stick passing.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so sometimes just because you know something doesn't mean you should do it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, hard.
Right? I think that's a big thing, you know, as everyone's like, hey, you know how to do this, you should go and do that. And it's like,
I know.
right?
I think that's what I felt as well. Well, we'll come back to that, but just to touch on, I felt like that because a lot of people coming into the fitness industry, a lot of people said, hey Shaba, you should do nutrition, you should do food because that's your background, you've done 10 years in food.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, if you don't know, I believe in God myself, you know.
Yeah.
And so God said to me that he doesn't want me to do anything with food. And for me, that was like a big part for me, which challenged me because I'm like, but it feels so familiar. It feels real to me.
Maybe there's no growth there.
But there's no growth, right? And it's more of, again, usually the familiar places are the places which, again, you're saying that there's usually not much growth that you can go into. And for me, what it's about is it's not about just an idea, but, you know, there's a saying we could say, not every good idea is a God idea. You know what I mean?
100%.
And because not everything that you want to do are things that you are called to doing.
Correct.
You know, so which is, when I think of it that way, it just simplifies everything for me because I'm an ideas person, and that is my personality. My personality is I may have like 4 or 5 ideas, but I sometimes struggle to pick which idea to go for. So I guess having that sense of being able to speak to God or to speak to even people because God
or yourself
all this
all
is that it's nice to know, and it's soothing to know that not every idea is a good idea.
One of the stories I remember back when I was managing one of the city fitnesses there on the PT side, not the club management side. We had a meeting and they just said, "All right, we need 2 volunteers." And man, I'm first to chuck my hand out because I'm about that life. You know, I'm like struggle. I want it.
Yes.
So they put a blindfold on us.
Yes.
And they put another blindfold on one of the other guys, and they moved all of the desks out of the room, right? And then they folded up everybody's jerseys that we weren't using, and they placed them randomly on the carpet. So we're at the back of this big classroom, and all of the rest of the people are off to the sides, and me and this guy are at the back, and we've got can't see anything. And the instruction was, this is a minefield. Can't step on any mines, or you're dead.
Wow.
How do you get from one side to the other just by yourself?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Hectic.
And so I thought, I'm just going to sprint.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Right.
And if you die, you die. Pretty much. Okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, okay.
So, this is the old me which didn't think about anything, just acted, right?
Yeah.
And so, happened to just sprint through it and not get anything.
Yes,
Not land on any landmines.
Wow.
Got all the way to the end, right?
Wow.
Took my blindfold off, just fluked it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm sitting at the end and I'm like, I did good, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched the other guy and, you know, he's taking his time and we were there for about 10 minutes and he'd probably gotten a meter.
Wow.
Right? And then so they were like, okay, that's enough time, take it off. What did we learn?
Yes.
And so the idea was that, the idea is that it's better to go fast and make a mistake than it is to not be brave enough to go fast and just sort of freewheel and spin and not get anywhere, right? And then I was telling someone this story the other day, and they were like, don't you think the idea was to question why you've got a blindfold on in the minefield?
Oh, fair enough. But you wouldn't usually see minefields anyway.
Exactly, but I mean, a whole thing was like a metaphor for life, right? Like, so for most of my life, I was like, the idea, I guess, is, you heard the saying, you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs.
Yes.
So, break the eggs.
Yes.
make the omelette,
Nice.
eat the omelette,
Nice.
and then clean it up.
Yeah. Nice.
Instead of
nice.
taking so long
Nice.
to make sure you don't make a mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because
Yeah. Because that's very crippling, isn't it? It can be.
For sure.
Yeah.
But also, minds can be crippling if you stand on one, right?
Definitely.
Right? So if I'd have stood on one, the game was over, and and so that idea would have been terrible idea.
Yes.
So I think it all comes down to the context of if nothing bad is going to happen, if nothing super serious is going to happen, it's probably better to just start.
Just start.
You know, like, is it a podcast?
Yes.
Just start it.
Yeah.
You know, you know, don't wait on having the perfect setup with the perfect lights and the perfect cameras and just get it done.
Yeah.
You know, and so that served me really well through most of my life. But now looking back at it, I'm like, there's a smarter way, because that's actually, that way of thinking is causing me some issues in life.
Okay.
Because I'm not taking that 1 second or 2 seconds to think about, what if I crack the eggs over the sink?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Then I would have the best of both worlds. I wouldn't need to come back and clean it up. So there's always a third way. Yeah, you can. There's a benefit in going fast, because especially in business, right? Better to get out there and then later on go, oh shit, the part about where you just said shit, we have to cut that out.
Yeah.
A perfect example, right? Now we're gonna go back and do the whole thing from the start. But yeah, so just because of that, like, that sort of set me on a path of, all right, I'm gonna, and you know, drag my family to Perth, was a trainer there, did all those things there, drag my family to Vietnam, where I was a strength and conditioning coach for a pro basketball team, you know, and then your marriage fell apart, and it's like, well, did you see that coming? And it's like, I was too busy moving us around, you know, I was too busy running across the minefield. So, you know, obviously things worked out for the best, and but there's always, you know, like, my daughters are in Christchurch, you know, maybe there was a better way to, I don't know. Yeah. But that's the thing with life, right? But you don't get any do-overs. You know? So yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment to do this day, and I probably would still do it the same way. But I would probably slip on a mine.
Fair enough. I've heard this, I've heard this one guy saying, speed is not an advantage if you're going the wrong way. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And you know, and like, I've been sitting with that, like, just trying to unpack that. And so even for myself, as you're saying, that as I've been continuing my journey, is that, especially these days, like, where it's all about content, and it's about getting your stuff out there as much as possible, 100%. And because that is, you know, even if I listen to Gary Vee, people like Gary Vee, he's like, post 4 times a day and just get your stuff out, you know? And for me, I think the hardest part has been, well, I hear the fact that you're saying get my stuff out, but what's more important to me is, what am I getting out? You know, so again, you know, speed is not an advantage if you're going the wrong way. 100%. You know, if it's not aligning with where I'm going to or where I'm trying to go to, then why would I want to put myself in that situation? You know. But again, I am still saying, I still would side with you in a sense of, or siding with, try different things. Okay. And like, you can only know once you've tried. You know. And I think that's what, for a lot of people, have crippled themselves in, is that, you know, we were talking about imposter syndrome earlier on, where people don't actually do anything because of the negative thoughts that are imposing and telling them that they can't do something. How do you get past imposter syndrome?
I think I know, the one thing I know is that you get more experience from failing.
Nice.
So I'm okay with it. You know, it's not like I don't have those thoughts, right? I think
that's good.
I think we're careful. We've got to be careful that we assume sometimes as humans that there's humans out there that don't have negative thoughts, and I think that might be false. I feel like that voice in there is designed in that for a purpose, so you can rage against it. I really feel that that's sort of something that I'm starting to learn. I don't feel like there's Gary V's out there every morning, you know, or Mark Wahlberg waking up at 4 and just really raw dogging life and like, you know, and not having any negative thoughts. I don't believe that for a fact.
Nice.
Yeah,
and
so
I would say that's sort of like idolizing, you know, like putting people at a pedestal sometimes, where we put them at such a high pedestal
100%.
that we forget that they're humans.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I think that's almost like that should be empowering, right? Because if you know you're having a hard time,
bro,
you can safely assume that everybody's having a hard time, right? So I think that also helps with that being humble and that being of service is to know that those things there's a people out there for you that need your content, like need it,
nice,
right?
bro.
And even if it's one person, worth it, dude.
Yeah.
And even if that one person hasn't been born yet,
ooh, come on. Come on!
I think like we've got to be like keep it 100%, and that the stuff that we're putting out might not be for us or for the people that are in front of us. It might be for the next generation, or the next generation, or the next. And so what we're doing is you're creating that legacy of that information, of that potential to learn a lesson, to learn a life lesson. Right, and that's huge.
Bro, that speaks hugely to me, bro. Oh, I'm about to tear up just because. No. Honestly, I'm allowed to. Thank you. Thanks for the permission. I'm kidding. But like, honestly, that makes me tear up because, like, you know, like I think, you know, part of my journey as well has been a lot of it has been me wrestling. Or me talking to myself, having those conversations. You know, so I think that's why I do want to tear up because, you know, I've been thinking to myself, man, I don't care if no one, well, I don't care really if no one listens. I know somebody will listen,
eventually,
you know.
for sure.
And, but I'll more than anything, I want to create an impact, you know, and the conversations that I've been having with myself is, even if it's one person, Shaba, like, be happy. Be happy with that, you know, and be satisfied with that one person. And the fact that you said, even if it's not this generation, you know, it plays a big role and a big part, you know, in life or our investing, you know, it's like an investment. One of these guys that I listen to, Myron Gold, he speaks about, you know, in terms of content, he says, you have life experiences, right? And as long as you can put them into something, YouTube, podcast, right, it's timeless. 100%. And the fact that people can have access to that, you know, that is timeless, and that means that for generations to come, books, you know, people can be equipped with life, with things that they are going through, you know, and this is why I've started it, bro. And so like that really resonated with me.
Awesome.
And I want to thank you for that, bro, because that's a gift. I feel like that's a gift to me.
I don't think it would have popped up unless we'd had this conversation. Right? Like that's the other thing is you've got to put yourself out there, because when you do get out there, the magic that actually occurs is actually way more than what you thought.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I never actually thought about that. So if I wasn't here, it wouldn't have come out to impact you or potentially impact somebody else. It's crazy, huh? I think like going back to that imposter syndrome, I feel like a lot of that comes from the people that we love and trust the most are our peers. And I feel that that's the yardstick that we're using, and I feel like that's the wrong yardstick.
Okay.
So if you think about it, like I've got a basketball team that I play basketball with, have for like 10 years or whatever, and a lot of my videos are for of basketball drills that you can use if you're a youth athlete. So it's not for them. And then like we'd go and catch up, and someone would be like, they'll be, you know, giving me a few jokes or a few ribs like, hey, I saw that video was dumb, you know, or that video, you know, hey, go and shoot the ball over the backboard somewhere, you know, like they because it wasn't for them. So I don't need to listen to anything they say because they weren't my 16-year-old to 20. Exactly. I didn't make it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're my peer, so I know you know it. I'm not saying, hey, my peers don't know this stuff. I'm saying, hey, your neighbours' kids that you don't talk to might see this one day, and this is for them. Yeah, so we've got to be careful of who we're putting our. I mean, I don't even pass them the ball much anyway. So. What am I going to listen to your opinion?
I love that.
Yeah. So.
Because that's buzzy, hey, like, you know, because I think I made a post one of the days and I said, like, who's speaking life into your dreams or your vision, you know, because I believe that you still need to be very careful with who you share your visions and your dreams with, because those people can be the people that abort or help abort your visions, especially if you're not at a strong enough space or place within your heart to carry it out with conviction. And so, I believe that I think there's a key in knowing who to speak to about your visions and your dreams with, and also being able to have, again, a good support structure to keep ushering you into the vision or dreams that you've been headed to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be quite a common struggle, right? There'll be people that, even if they're not doing podcasts, they're doing something where they're like passionate about. They have a vision and they want to do it, and then they say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And someone says, "No, that's not it. That's not really. That's not." And so, like you said in that example, that would make them, you know, get rid of that and flag that off and lose their vision. I think the important part, if it's your vision, if it's your calling, then you don't need anybody else to.
True.
You shouldn't even ask anybody. Because all I'm going to do, the reason you're asking them is because there's a part of you that's scared. So you're allowing that imposter syndrome to sit at your table.
Okay,
Why?
Nice.
The trick is, don't listen to anybody.
Okay.
Do you as real as you can, and then hopefully somebody one day will find value in that. Right. Hopefully there'll be, and then because that was your person that you were supposed to be pitching to the whole time, was that they're going to see value and pay you, maybe not money, but and whatever the point of what you right, it's going to be reciprocated at the same level, right? If it's money, sure, right? If it's respect, sure, right? It doesn't matter what it is whatever your vision was. The you only get one shot at it, so to let a peer, especially somebody that you know and talk to, like, is that one of the top 5 people that you have as a mentor? Probably not.
Hard.
Right, so don't ask them.
Hard.
Right, just go. And I'm saying that now, hearing it and go, damn. I'm not doing that for everything in my life, so I got to get back to work.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
So you've empowered me. So
awesome. Bro. Sure, bro. Okay, bro. One last thing, just in closing, what would you say you would say to another person that is trying to be limitless? What would you say that they need, or what should they do to become the limitless self that they are, or what kind of mindset should they have?
Oh, good question. I think that, I believe that you have to be real. I believe that it comes from a place of truth, and your truth that you know, wherever you get that from, if it's a higher power, it will resonate with you at the right frequency that you know it's for you, right? It doesn't matter where that comes from, but there is a thing there that says, and that thing is what your target audience want. it's what they need.
Yes.
And think of it the other way. What if you didn't post? Right? Like how much of a shame is that? Because I will listen to anybody that's in that element of themselves that are unflinchingly doing something that my fiance does extremely well.
Okay.
That I'm like, damn, that's that the fact that she's just
doing it.
Yeah, just getting after it.
Yes.
Right? Like just no F's given.
Yes.
No back steps taken.
Yes.
This is who I am.
Yes.
I'm unflinching.
Yes.
And this is my gift.
Yes.
Is for me, my story.
Yes.
This is my truth. And for those that don't like it, just don't post.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there for you.
Yes.
And I think we struggle in New Zealand because there's not. Sometimes our content gets sort of pigeonholed into New Zealand. But you just imagine like the top 10 people that have ever inspired you through content, if they decided not to, if they listened to the imposter syndrome, how much worse off you would be in your life, right? It's so hard to think about it like
another
that.
gift!
Yeah.
Oh,
right? But you can always flip
So
things
true.
around, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, imagine if they didn't.
Whoa!
What a loss, eh?
What a loss!
Yeah.
Actually, before we close, this takes me back to another preacher that I listened to, and he was like one of the greatest, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
And his name is Dr. Miles Monroe.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said, what is the richest place on earth? What would you say?
The richest place on earth?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't. Does he mean like actually?
Actually, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna be biased and say Aotearoa.
Aotearoa, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because the way that I look at it is if there was a true world war like you see on that Fallout program with the nukes and stuff, all the rich people would come to New Zealand, right?
Okay,
like if you if everyone agreed around the world, let's not bomb one country, but we'll bomb the rest.
New Zealand.
By far, right?
Why do you reckon?
I don't know. I think its beauty is just unmatched,
Unmatched,
right? Like, look out your window, dude.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of this. Like, how much rent you pay here? Like, is that a for sale sign on that? Like, look at all the sun you're getting. You know, so yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
100%. Yeah, I would say Aotearoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine this then. So his words were, the cemetery is the richest place, and why?
Oh snap! Oh snap!
Right?
Yeah.
And why he said the cemetery? He said the cemetery is full of ideas that people didn't pursue. You know, and ideas equals wealth. You know.
Oh.
Yeah. You know,
tough.
Tough, bro. And so it's like, imagine, not even just wealth, but like even just because how many thoughts and ideas or whatever that you can have that can help shape and empower the people
are lost
forever because you didn't choose to again take whatever it is and put it in a package so that people can have it. And what he was mostly speaking about is put it in a package of books, put it in a package of podcasts, put it in a package of videos, send it out to the world, you know? And that's why he said the richest place on earth is a cemetery.
It's crazy.
Because of all the ideas that people had that they didn't fulfill.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, bro, it was so lovely to have you on the show,
honor and
bro.
privilege, my guy.
Yeah,
thank you
bro.
very much.
Honestly, this chat has been really a gift to me, and it's been a pleasure.
Me too.
You know, so, bro, I'd love to have you on another podcast, and I'm looking forward actually to your podcast.
Hey. You'll be on there as soon as we
because I think you owe it to yourself as well.
100%.
You know?
I think that's definitely solidified. This is, you know, start.
Yeah, start it, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. Where can people find you, bro?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Infinity Fit Basketball.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the best place to find me. I'm currently open for clients if you need any injury rehab.
Yes.
That's what I specialize in.
Come on.
I am the injury specialist as far as gym specific.
Yes.
So if you've got an injury, then I'm your guy. So Infinity Fit Basketball.
Come on, Infinity Fitness. Come on, beautiful.
Yeah. And we're part of that Limitless family. We're repping it. I get to keep this cup.
Yeah, come on, yeah. Anyway, guys, much love. Thank you again for coming on the show with us. We hope that there's been gems and for you that you can actually utilize for your life. And this is, I believe, a vulnerable talk that we had, and I believe that in vulnerability, this is when people can advance and actually gives them space to be their truest and realest version. And so I advise you all to be a bit more vulnerable and to open up yourself to what vulnerability looks like. And much love. Anyway, much love. Remember, stay limitless, be limitless, and break your mold. Come on. We out.
Nice.
Oosh.
Hey,
my brother.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that was me.